Resident Evil 3 Remake is not good.
Resident Evil 3 Remake is a disappointment.
It's terrible.
I'm sorry, but why do people have so much hate for this game? There is a reason they cut so much out of the game, and there is also a reason that they changed the characters a little bit. Let me explain. The 3 main games series of Raccoon City is the best series of video games ever created, I swear. By the way, there are going to be spoilers in this video. There are so many reasons for things being removed, such as speedrunning. People want to speedrun. Is that so hard to believe? We're going to start with the clock tower. Capcom, how can you remove this? It's the best part of the game. Shut up, okay? Listen, they had the clock tower in Resident Evil 2 Remake. Do you really just want to play the exact same game you played last year? Don't get me wrong, Resident Evil 2 Remake is the best game in the series in my opinion. But the thing is, why buy a game for however much money you spend on it if you already have it? I think the clock tower being removed was probably one of the greatest things they could have done to make the game feel unique and new. Unlike Resident Evil 0, where they just took Resident Evil 1 and slapped a train on it. Resident Evil 0 is still the 3rd best game. And then when people look at me and say, Samuel, what are you talking about? Resident Evil 4 is the best game. Have you played the originals? I couldn't make it past the first town. And I know you're probably all over there saying,
Now, how do you know you don't like it if you won't try it?
I did. I don't like Mr. Chainsaw. But Samuel, what about the Nemesis options? Whatever happened to those? Nemesis options are the coolest thing I've seen Capcom do in a long time. But the thing is, beginners who are just starting the game, you think they're just gonna be like, yeah, I'm gonna fight a monster, I'm not scared. No, they're gonna poop their pants and run into the RPD. I mean, seriously, come on. But Samuel, Nemesis transformed way too fast. Hey, guess what? I'll give you a reason for that too. You guys remember the Tyrant from Resident Evil 2? Also known as Mr. X, where he could take bullets to the head and be just fine back on his feet. He's invincible because he can regenerate extremely fast and heal very fast. Practically the same thing with Nemesis. Wounds such as fire wounds will cause you to have to heal, right? Well, I mean, if you think about it, it's like Dr. Birkin. He was healing, but it didn't stop. The process of healing is called mitosis. William Birkin did not have mitosis with his G-virus because of all the gunshot wounds. That scab blew up and turned him into a monster. Nemesis also had that condition as well, and that's why he grew so fast. Is that all of your complaints, or do I have to keep going? What about the giant worm you have to electrocute? Or the crows? Or the spiders? Or the... They had spiders in literally every Resident Evil game. They had spiders in Resident Evil 0, Resident Evil 1, Resident Evil 3. Same thing with crows, Resident Evil 1, 0, 3, 2. They took the worm out of the game because in the final Nemesis fight, he comes out looking like, well, a giant worm. And they didn't want you to have to expect that, so they took it out of the game entirely. And then stuff like the park and stuff, I think that was taken out of the game entirely because, like I said before, people want to speedrun the game. And then I think the underground laboratory was way too much, especially after Resident Evil 0, Resident Evil 1, Resident Evil 2, and then they were already putting Nest into the game, Nest 2, so, I mean, it kind of makes sense. I can't even tell you how many people were complaining about the part of Carlos's story where you have to blow up the wall. People that played Resident Evil 2 were all saying that this is a Nemesis-sized hole in the wall, and I agree with them. That would have been really cool. But the thing is, if they're changing this part of the story in the RPD to Carlos's story, why would Nemesis burst through the wall? He's not after Carlos. Carlos is part of UBCS, not RPD. So why would he be after him if he's not a STARS member? And then people are like, well, why does Carlos have to be in the RPD instead of Jill? Number 1, they had to leave you on a cliffhanger with the train derailing. I mean, come on. Number 2, the Hospital Horde. The Hospital Horde is the funnest part of the game, in my opinion. Also an infinite way to get XP if you're smart. You are not. That made it sound like I was roasting every single one of you. What I meant was, you are not going into the hospital with 0 ammo and coming out with enough to do this fight. I swear. The thing is, they had the RPD section to get you ready, number 1. And number 2, It's also kind of just to get you used to Carlos's character and controlling Carlos with his attitude and how he is, just getting used to him, to getting to know him. Brad. So, that was the weirdest way to start this. Brad was only in the remake for a very small amount of time, and he was originally killed by Nemesis. So why was he only in the remake for, like, 1 minute? Number 1! Speedrunners! Number 2, they had to make Marvin's bite meaningful. I would say Marvin is sick, but you'd all be like, duh. So, Marvin's awesome. I'm sorry, but if Marvin was just a weakling who got bit by a random zombie, I mean, how disappointing would that be? They had to make it meaningful, one of his STARS members. They're not going to make Marvin like, I failed my job as a cop. Take my hand, Leon. Although I do agree it was kind of quick. It was like, hi, Brad. Bye, Brad. People are complaining that Nemesis is too weak. Yes, maybe he's invincible, but if you get a grenade thrown at you, do you think that you're gonna take a break? Yes, you're gonna take an infinite break because I don't even need to keep going. But there is one thing that drives me crazy, is that you don't get to hear Resident Evil 3. Can we please give Resident Evil 3 a little more credit? I mean, come on. It's such a good game. Everyone, please put a thumbs up in the comment section if you think that Resident Evil 3 Remake was a great game, because I sure did. Everyone, it's been That One Kid Gaming. I will see you in a new video. That's a cat right there. I will see you in a new video. Goodbye. Wait, that song doesn't belong to me? Oh, Where did the time go? Running scared for so many years now.
Put you in a mental hospital.
Hurtful.